I didn't want to make this video. I'm creating this video with a heavy heart as it's a difficult topic to address. I want to start by extending my sincerest apologies to all parties involved. This tragedy has caused immense pain and suffering, with devastating consequences for everyone affected. My thoughts and prayers are with you, and I hope you find some measure of peace as days go by. This video concerns a recent murder suicide involving a true crime YouTuber. Out of respect for those affected, I've chosen not to disclose the channel's name, the location, or the individuals involved. Some of you may already be aware of the situation, while others may be unfamiliar. I want to acknowledge that this may cause some confusion. Personally, I didn't have a close relationship with the YouTuber in question. I was familiar with their content, and we had discussed potential collaboration. From my limited interactions, I had a positive impression. However, in light of these events, I'm grateful that our plans never came into fruition. Last Saturday, I received a distressing call from a friend who struggled to convey the shocking news. As I listened, I found myself confused, and it took time to grasp what was going on. Here's what happened. Last Saturday at 9:43 a.m., the YouTuber entered his former partner's workplace, exchanged words, and fired shots, tragically taking her life. Shortly after, the YouTuber took his own life. This horrific event was clearly a domestic dispute turned fatal. What disturbed me, however, was the blame shifted onto the victim. The friend who called me claimed that the victim had, in effect, driven the killer to violence. I found this assertion repulsive, but I refrained from responding, attributing it to their grief and shock. Unfortunately, this sentiment didn't stop there. The next evening, four YouTubers who were friends of the perpetrator live streamed a joint statement. Although the stream is no longer available, I was dismayed to hear that three out of the four YouTubers employed a harmful narrative. They essentially used the phrase, "What he did was awful, but," implying that the victim was somehow responsible for driving the killer to commit the heinous act. This is a textbook example of victim blaming. Victim blaming is when someone holds a victim of a crime or traumatic event partially or fully responsible for what happened to them, essentially implying that their actions or behavior contributed to the abuse they experienced, rather than placing the blame solely on the perpetrator. It often involves suggesting that the victim could have done something to prevent this situation. As I watched and listened to the joint statement, I felt a mix of sadness and anger. It was disturbing to hear some of them justify or downplay the perpetrator's actions. As a true crime content creator, we should unequivocally condemn unjustified homicide. It's not a matter of debate as far as I'm concerned. I commend the one individual who refused to engage in victim blaming. They demonstrated moral clarity and courage. The victim did not deserve to be brutally murdered, shot 3 times in the face. She had taken steps to protect herself, including filing a restraining order against the perpetrator. Tragically, this only seemed to anger the killer more. As I looked into this more, I found a chilling quote posted by the killer on his Facebook page, and it stated, "It's only after we've lost everything that we're free to do anything." And to me, this suggested a premeditated plan rather than a spontaneous act. He was kind of leaving messages. In the lead up to the murder, the killer reached out to his friends, sharing his side of the story, and he received offers of help due to his unemployment and living situation. He was living in a motel and was running out of money. However, in one form or another, he declined assistance, seeking instead to exact revenge for perceived wrongs. On Monday, I had a difficult conversation with the friend who initially informed me about the tragedy. We held vastly different views on the matter. Some people, including my friend, believe that the killer's actions shouldn't define their legacy, dismissing it as a mere mistake. I strongly disagree. The killer's brutal actions forever tarnished their legacy, leaving behind a child without a parent. This situation reminded me of the Chris Benoit case, where a WWE wrestler murdered his wife and son before taking his own life. Some attempted to justify his actions, blaming CTE and absolving him of accountability. They argued that his wrestling career should not be defined by his final heinous acts. I firmly believe that such actions can never be justified or excused. My conversation with my friend became heated, and they eventually hung up on me. I understand that grieving is a process, but making excuses for a murderer is unacceptable. I hope that in time, my friend and others will come to realize that there is no justification for this heinous crime. The purpose of this video is to issue a call to action. We must put an end to victim blaming. When you witness it, speak out against it. Make it clear that this behavior will not be tolerated regardless of the circumstances. It's essential to acknowledge that grieving is a natural process, especially for those who knew the killer. However, it is equally important to recognize that making excuses and blaming the victim is morally and ethically wrong. The joint statement video, like I said earlier, was taken down, but the damage has already been done. I've seen others blaming the victim, and it's heartbreaking. That's why I created Burn After Reading a little over 3 years ago, to address the victim blaming that occurred in the Maura Murray case. It's essential that we do better and promote a culture of accountability and respect for victims. Lastly, it's never okay to sidestep responsibility with victim blaming. If you think it is, this channel is not for you.